Cairns is the tropical capital of Australia, but it's only a small city. Does that mean it's boring? Well, it's got beaches, nightlife, and more waterfalls and hikes than you can shake a stick at. There are so many reasons why you need to add Cairns to the list of your travel destinations, and I'm going to give you all those in this video, plus key information that you're going to need to know before you come here. Now, I did make a video a few months ago showing what you can do in the city centre, but this one is going to be much more comprehensive and cover everything you can do in the local area as well. So my name is Justin. I've spent the last 3 months living and working in Cairns, so I've done pretty much everything that there is to do around here, and I've also made videos on lots of the things I'm going to talk about in this one, so you need to make sure you go and check those out after you've watched this one. I've done all the hard work for you, so it's my job to share all that knowledge with you. So yes, you're in the right place, and yes, you're in good hands. So sit back, relax, because this is Cairns. The first thing I need to talk about is actually getting to Cairns. Now, if you're arriving into the airport, the best bet, just get an Uber to wherever it is you're going to be staying. If you're arriving by the bus, the Greyhound or whatever, and you're staying somewhere along the Esplanade, you can walk to your hostel or hotel absolutely no problem whatsoever. So now you're actually in Cairns, where should you be staying? So you've got a few options when it comes to this, and I'm going to put them into 3 different categories. So you've got hostels, hotels, and also share houses. I'll start with hostels because I guess that's going to be the most likely place you're going to be staying. If you want something with sort of a chilled vibe, look into either global backpackers or Cairns City backpackers. If you want something a little bit more lively, Mad Monkey has 3 different hostels here. They're going to be a bit more lively than the global or Cairns City backpackers, but they're not going to be anywhere near as lively as Gilligan's, which is known in Cairns as the party hostel. If you're looking for an all-out party hostel vibe, there's only one place you need to be staying, and that is Gilligan's. They host pool parties here, they've got a huge nightclub, and they have live acts on also on certain nights throughout the week. Now, a hostel is going to cost you anywhere from around $150 a week upwards, but be very careful because in the peak season, the prices in Cairns do skyrocket. Hotels are absolutely everywhere as well too, most of them of the 5-star variety. Now, it's obviously going to be much more expensive than a hostel, starting at around $100 a night and going all the way up to about $1,000 a night. So if you feel like balling out, go to a hotel. Share houses are also a great way of staying in Cairns if you're going to be here more long term. Check out flatmates.com or Airbnb. These are great places to start looking for share houses. The prices are going to be sort of similar to hostels, but it's going to be an absolute world of a difference to a hostel, and a share house is where I've stayed the majority of my time whilst in Cairns. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the weather and the seasons. And like I said before, Cairns is in the tropical part of Australia, so you get very similar weather to what you get in Asia. So you get a wet season and a dry season, and the temperatures rarely drop below 20 degrees, so it's nice and warm there all year round. The dry season runs from April to October, and the wet season runs from November to March. So the best time to visit Cairns is actually going to depend on your preferred route. If you're going south to north, I'd recommend you arrive into Cairns early in the dry season, so around April or May. And this is because as you travel up the coast, the rest of Australia will actually be in summertime. And if you're starting your East Coast trip in Cairns, I recommend you arrive here late in the dry season so that as you work down, the rest of Australia will be coming into their summertime. The more you know, eh? So you've arrived in Cairns, you've got your place to stay, you've come at the right time. What is there actually to do here? Well, with Cairns being in the tropics, it has an amazing mix of rainforest, beaches, and more hikes and waterfalls than you can literally shake a stick at. Honestly, I've probably done them all. But we'll start with the city itself. Now, there are so many good food places to eat in Cairns. There's a night market that's on pretty much every single day with an amazing range of food in there. Also, every single type of cuisine you can ever imagine throughout the city. And after you've had your food, you're probably going to want to have a few drinks as well. Cairns has got lots of great places to go for drinks. There are plenty of pubs and things selling beer and ales, but if you want fancy cocktails, the one place I highly recommend is called Flamingo's. They have all sorts of different bubbling concoctions in there. It's quite a small venue, so head there early, but honestly, the cocktails there are top tier. There is also a wildlife dome you can go to where you can actually hold koalas, see crocodiles, get up close and personal with all different types of local creatures, and Cairns also has an amazing aquarium you should check out whilst you're here as well. And if you're needing some retail therapy, head to Cairns Central. They have a massive range of shops there. So if you need some fresh clothes, that's the place to go. So the Esplanade in Cairns is also one of the city's main attractions. It is stunning, and you can just walk along there and literally look out onto the Great Barrier Reef. It's absolutely amazing. There's not much of a beach actually there in Cairns. In fact, it's more of like a swamp, to be honest, but there is a lagoon on the Esplanade as well. So if you want to go for a swim, head to there. That'll be a much nicer, safer option to swim in. And whilst you're in Cairns on the Esplanade, you have to stick around for sunset. Honestly, the colors in the sky at sunset on the Esplanade in Cairns are just ridiculous. It looks fake. You have to see it for yourself. So the hustle and the bustle of the city can get a little bit much after a while, and what better way to escape, relax and unwind than heading to one of the many amazing beaches near Cairns. I've got so many beaches literally just lining the coastline from Cairns all the way up to Port Douglas. The two main ones tend to be Trinity Bay and Palm Cove. Now Trinity Bay is my favorite of the two, but everyone I seem to ask the question to gives me a different answer, so head to both and make the decision for yourselves. So the beaches along here have lovely golden sand, and they have palm trees littering the back of the beach as well. It looks absolutely stunning. You just have to be careful when swimming in the water. In the summer months especially, there'll be like a netted off area because there are lots of stingers in the water, and also be careful for crocodiles because up in North Queensland, crocodiles are a real threat. If you like hiking, stunning viewpoints and waterfalls, you will literally be in heaven in Cairns. There are so many hikes, viewpoints and waterfalls in and amongst the Cairns area. Now I'll start with viewpoints, and a couple of notable mentions are going to be Campbell's Lookout and Rex's Lookout. These are two of the best lookouts around Cairns. Now waterfalls are scattered all over the place near Cairns. Now really close to the city you've got the Crystal Cascade, about a 10-minute drive away, but if you venture further out, if you hire a car or something and head about an hour or an hour and a half further out of Cairns, you'll head to places like Davies Creek and Winding Falls. Now these are absolutely insane waterfalls. Winding Falls especially, you're just stood at the top of the waterfall. It's like 120 meters or so to the bottom. It's huge. And Davies Creek has a natural infinity pool you can hop into and swim in as well. I've actually got videos on both of these. You can go check them out after watching this one. Just make sure to watch out for any venomous snakes and angry cassowaries. On the topic of waterfalls, I have actually made a video giving you the top 10 waterfalls in Queensland, and Cairns is the best place to go on a massive waterfall circuit and just hunt out the best ones and go experience them for yourselves. Okay, so if hiking through the rainforest isn't really your thing, you can actually just get the Cairns Skyrail, and this will give you a bird's eye view over the rainforest. It'll take you from Cairns to the little village of Kuranda, which itself is quite an odd little place, but something you should experience whilst you're in Cairns. And then if you want, you can also take the scenic railway, which will take you through the rainforest, past some waterfalls, and that's just something different if you don't want to be hiking miles and miles. If you want to do a bungee jump whilst you're in Australia, you have no other option but to do it in Cairns because it is home to the only bungee jump in Australia. Now, if you're feeling brave, get strapped in, jump off the edge, and if you're feeling super brave, you can even get your head dunked into the pool at the bottom like I did. So if you're an adrenaline junkie, you know exactly where to go. Now say bungee jumping maybe isn't your thing, it's just not quite high enough. Well, you can actually also go skydiving here, and skydiving around Cairns is a seriously special place to do it because you're going to see the rainforest and the reef as you fall from 15,000 feet or whatever all the way down. It is a serious once-in-a-lifetime place to do a skydive. So if you're even more of an adrenaline junkie, you should go and do that instead, or as well. Next up on the list of things to do is obviously going to be go and see the Great Barrier Reef. Now it is one of the 7 wonders of the world, the world's largest reef system. You can either snorkel or scuba dive here, and both are going to give you an absolutely insane experience that you will never forget. The immense blue waters here are filled with colourful water, colourful coral, turtles, reef sharks, rays, everything. Hopefully you will be lucky on your trip and you'll get to see all of those, but if not, you'll still get to see the Great Barrier Reef in the best shape it's been in the last 35 years. Because yes, the Great Barrier Reef is recovering, and I've actually made a video on more specific details about this, so you need to go and check that one out after you've finished watching this one. Something else you absolutely have to do whilst you're in Cairns, I cannot stress this enough, you have to go and see Fitzroy Island. You just take the ferry across for a day trip and you can hike to the top of the island, you can do snorkeling here, and you can also visit Nudie Beach, which no It's not a nudist beach, but it was actually voted Australia's most beautiful beach just a few years ago. The boat ticket costs about $86 for a return ticket, and yes, you guessed it, I have made a complete guide on this place as well, just to make your trip to Fitzroy Island that little bit easier. So go and check that video out as well. Another day trip you can do whilst you're staying in Cairns is head up to Port Douglas. Now, Port Douglas is a really nice little town. There's actually not a huge amount to do here, but there's definitely enough to fill a day. They've got a really nice beach, a few good lookout places, and the journey from Cairns to Port Douglas along the Captain Cook Highway is just absolutely stunning. That has got to be one of the most scenic drives in the world, bar none. And yes, of course, you guessed it again, I have made a full travel guide for your day trip to Port Douglas, and that's going to give you all the information you need for that trip. Cairns is definitely a place you need to be adding to your Australia travel itinerary for so many of the reasons I have outlined in today's video. Now, do me a favor, and if you've enjoyed this video, let YouTube know by smashing that like button down below. It really helps me, and it helps this video get to everybody who needs to see it. I've really enjoyed giving you all the information you need for your upcoming trip to Cairns. I hope you have an amazing time there. Now, like I've said before, I have a massive library of videos on more specific details for other things around this area, and you should start by checking out this one on the Great Barrier Reef and then checking out this one on Port Douglas afterwards. If you want to stay up to date with all of my future content, which just gets better and better, subscribe to the channel. Apart from that, have an amazing day, have a great trip to Cairns, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.